If I told you about a stylish and charismatic Englishman who traveled the world, drank fancy drinks, smoked like a chimney, drove fast cars, and had sex with gorgeous women, I could guess who you'd be thinking about. If I told you about a cold-hearted, tough-minded Austrian who went from victory to victory with the help of dominant and efficient engineered vehicles, well, I don't know who you'd be thinking about. Total mystery. These two men both existed at the same time and raced against one another for the title of world champion in the turbulent and unforgettable 1976 Formula One season. Meet
Hunt. James Hunt.
and
Niki Lauda.
the film opens at the 1976 German Grand Prix, where Niki Lauda narrates the brutal reality of being a Formula One driver and his history in the sport. The film cuts back 6 years, introducing James Hunt, where he is racing in Formula 3, a lower division of racing. This would be the first of many races between him and Lauda, sparking the flames of rivalry between the two. Lauda's family isn't supportive of his dream of becoming a racer, seeing it as a profession for playboys. He decides to take a risk and buy his way into Formula One with a massive loan. Lauda turns out to be a genius setting up a car, reducing weight and increasing speed. He uses this to renegotiate his contract. Hunt, a natural talent, gets a spot in F1. The 1973 season is the first year where the two men race against one another. Hunt meets Susie Miller, his soon-to-be wife. In 1974, Niki Lauda earns a spot with Ferrari. He meets Marlene Knaus, his soon-to-be wife. Lauda brilliantly sets up the car and wins the championship the next year. In 1976, Hunt earns a spot with McLaren. The season is initially dominated by Lauda, winning multiple races and racking up a 50-point lead on Hunt, who is forced to retire constantly with mechanical issues. Hunt's marriage ends after 2 years while Lauda gets married. On August 1st, it rains heavily at the Nürburgring, a notoriously dangerous racetrack. Lauda calls a meeting to cancel the race. Hunt sways the room to let the race continue. Most drivers start on wet tires, including Hunt and Lauda, a costly tactic due to most of the track quickly drying. Lauda's pit stop takes longer than Hunt's, forcing Lauda to drive like a madman to catch him. Lauda's suspension arm fails, causing him to lose control, slam into the barriers, resulting in a horrific fireball crash. He is rushed to the hospital, where he recovers out of sheer human will. Legend. Hunt earns more points, closing the gap between them. 42 days later, Lauda is back in the seat at the Italian Grand Prix and gets a remarkable 4th place. The final and deciding championship race occurs on a rainy day in Japan. Lauda is 3 points ahead of Hunt. The two racers wave and nod to one another as a sign of mutual respect before the race. During the race, Lauda's car slips several times. Believing the track to be too dangerous, he decides to retire, opting to be with his wife. After hard competition, grueling conditions, blistering tires, and a hand injury, Hunt finishes 3rd, winning the championship by 1 point. Hunt revels in his high-status fame, indulging in sex and drugs. At a private airfield in Bologna, he runs into Lauda, who has taken up flying as a hobby. Lauda suggests Hunt spend his time training in order to defend his title, while Hunt believes that the entire point of being champion is to have as much fun as possible. Later on, Lauda understands Hunt's mentality. He proved himself to everyone and did not need to anymore. Lauda reminisces on his time with Hunt, naming him as one of the few he liked, the fewer he respected, and the only man he envied. Hunt raced until 1979, becoming a commentator until his death in 1993, at the age of 45. Lauda won the championship again in 1977 and 1984. While the movie is not 100% accurate with events, it has been applauded by discerning critics of the F1 industry for its accuracy. James Hunt and Niki Lauda, although competitive, did not hate each other to the point of rudeness. They were respectful rivals. Writer Peter Morgan balances the screen time of both characters, fleshing them out for the audience. The banter, snide remarks, and insults that each racer fires at the other shows the respect that Morgan has for these two men. Neither man comes out on top in verbal points scored. Performances by Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl are remarkable. It is refreshing seeing a non-roided-up Chris Hemsworth in a role that is not Thor. He looks like he's having the time of his life playing Hunt, effortlessly radiating his charisma, charm, and masculinity. Bruhl bears a striking resemblance to Lauda and sounds just like him. His hard work and dedication to the role paid off. He gives a captivating performance, easily portraying Lauda's cunning and honesty. Without question, Hemsworth and Bruhl's performances as James Hunt and Niki Lauda are one of their career bests. James Hunt is a perfect embodiment of racing during the time. Sex, drugs, and adrenaline fuel him and his racing style. Lauda would set the precedent for strict racer mentality, particularly in the modern era. Working with Mercedes from 2012 to his death in 2019, Lauda's brutal honesty and loyalty helped the team win 6 consecutive Constructors' Championships, producing one of the most dominant F1 teams in sports history. The two men are polar opposites in every aspect of their life, fire and ice. Hunt is aggressive and always willing to risk everything in order to win. He has immeasurable self-confidence and is exceptionally charismatic, a quality that helps him get what he wants, whether that be women, a seat at McLaren, friends, or the vote to let the German Grand Prix continue. Hunt indulges in booze, weed, and sex just before races to settle the nerves, living every day like it's his last. Lauda is calm and calculated, leading his mechanic team, noticing weaknesses and strengths in his car and opponents, and acting accordingly. He goes to bed early, gets up early, walks the racetrack, and gets the job done perfectly. He is not a social butterfly in the least, always keeping his emotional guard up, believing that everyone around him is only trying to take advantage of him and leech off of him. The reason why I wanted to review this movie is simple. It is so much fun to watch. The racing scenes are brilliantly shot, making the viewer want to be a race driver. The racing, the rivalries, the adrenaline, the rush, the parties, the lifestyle, it all looks so freakishly fun. The first time I saw this film was with 2 very good friends. We talked about the movie for hours over the span of a week. We talked about Formula 1 and watched races and highlights. We talked about dream cars. We planned which races we want to see and are saving money. A film like this motivates guys to get their hands greasy and to work on cars. It swells dudes up with testosterone and the desire to pick up new hobbies and to achieve greatness. I personally am saving and studying up on the mechanics of my dream car, the gorgeous 69 Mach 1. If there's one message you should take away from the film, it's this.
Jag säger, men love women. Even more than that. Men love cars.
Thank you for watching.